Remember that famous dialogue in the film Godfather where Don Corleone tells his godson Johnny Fontaine, "I will make him an offer he can't refuse." Well, today Vijay Mallya has made the banks an offer which I'm not quite sure they are in a position to refuse. Mallya has submitted a plan wherein he has agreed to repay 4,000 crore rupees to the SBI-led bankers consortium by September 2016. The banks are still scanning through his proposal and have a week's time to respond. Prerna Barua now joins us with the details. Prerna, this is indeed a big development. I mean, so far he was being cornered by the banks. Now he's at least put the ball in their court. Take us through all the details.
Well, indeed, a very important development in the ongoing legal tussle between Vijay Mallya and the banker consortium. Vijay Mallya has offered to pay 4,000 crore rupees to the SBI-led consortium in the next 6 months, which is by September 2016. Mallya's counsel also, offered to pay another 2,000 crore rupees to the SBI-led consortium, but only if he wins the lawsuit against GE Corporation. He has also requested the Apex Court not to make the repayment plan public, as he believes that the media hype has vitiated a fair trial in the matter. Mallya's counsel also did inform the Supreme Court that they have already had 2 rounds of meetings with the banker consortium via video conferencing since the time he has left the country, and that they are in constant dialogue with the banks regarding the repayment tenure and the repayment plans. And of course, to this, the Supreme Court has asked the banks to read the repayment plan and come out with whether they accept the proposal or not accept the proposal in the next 1 week. So the next key date to watch out for would be April 7th, when we will have to see whether the banking consortium agrees to Vijay Mallya's repayment proposal or not. Back to you.
All right, Prerna, thanks for joining in with those details. But let's get this discussion a step further. Joining in now is Sanjay Asher, Senior Partner of Crawford Bayley and Company. Ramesh, Vaidyanathan, Managing Partner of Advaya Legal, joins in now in the Mumbai studio. And Gupta, former Executive Director of SEBI, also joins in now. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining in on the show. Before I get the legal voices in, Mr. Gupta, a question to you. I remember when I spoke to you about Vijay Mallya's statement that he had made an offer to banks, you said that this was fictitious. There is an offer now, yes, but do you think that is higher or better than what the banks can get otherwise? That's about 10,000 crores expectedly.
See, it's very difficult to say whether this offer is higher, lower or expected, because I had no expectation of the offer. It was the expectation on behalf of the banks. Now, to me, the situation today is that it is no more a pure banking decision or commercial decision. It has become a socio-political decision. If you have heard the statements made by Honorable Prime Minister yesterday and Honorable Finance Minister a couple of days back, where they have said that we have every intention to recover each and every penny that Mr. Mallya has borrowed from the bank. Now, in the backdrop of those statements, if you see these 4,000 crore, it appears that it may not be an offer which would be acceptable to the system. Had it been a pure banking decision, probably the banks would have done a research or an analysis and found that rather than 15-20 year legal battle or having uncertainty to recover any amount of money, maybe 4,000 crore could be a good amount. But having said that, in the present scenario, it appears very difficult task for the bank, because they are in a situation, if they accept it, then there will be a lot of hue and cry from every side, including political side, that they have given up 6,000 crore of public money. Yeah. If they don't accept it, then everybody will become wiser after 10 years and say, we told you to accept 4,000 crores. So it is a situation which is very difficult for the banks.
Mr. Asher,
right. Yeah, Kritika, if I could just come in on that. That's actually an important point, Mr. Gupta, considering the fact that he has made now, he sort of put the bankers in some sort of, in some sort of confusion. And come in on that, Mr. Vaidyanathan, because, so far he was being cornered by the government, by the agencies, even by journalists. To that extent, do you think now he has managed to change the narrative of the story so far? Because now he's put the ball back into the banker's court?
I would not be so optimistic just yet, because we don't know what's the fine print. For example, what are the strings attached to the offer? What kind of immunity that he's seeking, if at all he is seeking some immunity? And is it part of a larger scheme of things to delay matters? Perhaps he's hoping that the media will go after something else and probably forget this controversy. So I think, I don't think the ball is still in the banker's court. I think it's still very much in his court. I think the greatest bona fide test that he'll probably have to pass is being physically present in India. And if he's able to do that, I think that will send a very positive message. And in return, I'm quite open, if I may, I'm open if, and probably anybody will say that if he's not immediately arrested, if he's given a fair trial and perhaps a speedy trial, I don't think that's such a bad bargain to go for. So, but I'm not too excited just yet. We'll see what happens in a week or so.
So, Ramesh, I take your point on the speedy and fair trial, yes, but specifically, do you believe that banks can probably get the settlement out of the way and the investigation authorities can then independently continue with the investigation? And I'll pose that question to Sanjay as well.
I'm not too sure if you can really separate the two just yet. As the gentleman mentioned earlier, this has become a much larger issue. I think we're talking about an institutional credibility issue here. And I would put this because, see, the common man on the street, with which obviously the political establishment is connected with, is concerned about, on the one hand, he being targeted for even the smallest of loans. And he's looking at this defaulter and saying that, why am I being singled out? So that's a thought or an emotion that finds resonance with the common man on the street. So that's something that the powers that be cannot afford to ignore. So that's my sense.
Right. Right, fair point there, Mr. Vaidyanathan. Sanjay Asher, come in on that because, there is still lack of clarity in terms of whether this 4,000 crore plus 2,000 crore, as and when he's able to clear out, the court case with GE, so, which will come to 6,000 crore, whether this is a one-time settlement or not. If that is indeed the case, then of course, then this story takes a different angle, which means banks will have to take a big haircut. What's your sense? I mean, does this appear to you as a one-time settlement, as some media reports are suggesting right now?
Yeah, I read the Supreme Court order. It doesn't speak about the one-time settlement or whether it is a part settlement, but it only speaks about that Mr. Vijay Mallya has given a proposal to the banks for the purpose of considering that immediate amount, or by September 4,000 crore and the next 2,000 crore in the event the suit is in favor of Mr. Vijay Mallya or his entity. But to my mind, that's quite a fair settlement in terms of that his bona fide are not at least a question now, that he's making a serious offer before the highest court in the country to say that, look, here I'm willing to pay banks 4,000 crore. Two, I'm also willing to put in more money in the event there is a decree in my favor in the General Electric suit, which I'm against General Electric, where I filed a suit. So to my mind, he has come forward, he's risen to the occasion, and he's shown his bona fide to say that, look, I want to settle the matter, I want to pay the dues which are outstanding to the banks, but please give me a fair settlement. If I have taken away money, it's a different thing. It is, I was only a guarantor to the money which has been borrowed by the company. And so therefore, the banks may have to take haircuts. So what? I mean, every single sticky debt, the banks in the past and presently are taking a haircut.
Okay, fair enough.
Challenges the litigation. The litigation, it's going to take forever for the banks to recover. One doesn't know as to what time will it take to recover this money. So it is better that the banks get that 4,000 crore and get going.
Okay, coming to you, Mr. Gupta, just come in on that. And, taking from Sanjay's point, I have a technical question here. What happens to the collateral that the banks have? There's about 10,000 crore rupees of collateral, sir, and you've been tracking this from day one. You've been following that case very closely. What happens to the collateral if at all banks were to take in that 4,000 crore rupees and that questionable 2,000 additional crore rupees that Mallya is promising?
See, it all depends what are the terms of settlement.
Yeah.
If it is a one-time settlement, then Mr. Mallya gets discharged of all his personal guarantee, all the collaterals will be released, and banks will be having only 4,000 crores plus 2,000 crore contingency if it can come. That means there will be no collateral further. Or if it is only a settlement that, okay, to begin with I am giving 4,000 crore and then you keep on going against me on my personal guarantee and on collateral, that could be a different thing, but I don't think it will be at all a thing, because if banks are willing or banks are permitted to go after Mr. Mallya with guarantee and collateral, then Mr. Mallya is not going to pay 4,000 crore at second. The second issue which Sanjay said, that Mr. Mallya has shown his bona fide. I have a counterpoint, that it could be a case where Mr. Mallya has realized that it may not be possible to escape the law of the land, and there are so many cases against him, so it is better to create a bonhomie or some sort of atmosphere where he would be taken as a bona fide person. So it could be a calculated move that as against 100 problems, let me concentrate on 2 or 3 problems by making this offer. Other issue is this, as Mr. Vaidyanathan was saying, the issue is that this settlement will be a separate settlement. It will not be able to do away with all the criminal proceedings that are going against Mr. Mallya or his companies, like ED, the money laundering case, whether it is true or not, I do not know, but the case that Enforcement Director has launched, the Prevention of Corruption Act that CBI has done, then many other cases like income tax, Indian Airport Authority or Provident Fund, all these cases. So these two are separate. This settlement will not be able to absolve Mr. Mallya of criminal liability, if any, that has arisen out of any action.
Will precisely. So essentially, you're saying that this will not have any impact on the pending cases, considering that it has become a multi-pronged agency probe as far as Vijay Mallya is concerned. We are running out of time, gentlemen. If I could just ask one quick question to Mr. Vaidyanathan. Many are wondering whether this is a very sort of an astute ploy by Mr. Vijay Mallya to buy time, for 6 months. How do you see in terms of the legal strategy behind it? I mean, does this make sense?
It probably definitely makes sense. One is because there's too much of media glare on him right now. So he's hoping that he will move out of the limelight in some form or the other. Second could be that he's probably also concerned about people who may get probably entangled in this mess, because the larger part of the whole investigation that's been commenced is who else was behind approving these loans and whether proper processes were followed, proper analysis was done. So therefore, there's probably also some kind of effort to make sure that they're also protected to some extent. Probably they have tightened the screws as well. So buying the time definitely is a matter of strategy, perhaps a legal strategy. I don't know how bona fide the offer is. We'll only see when we open the envelope eventually.
So all in all, gentlemen, a lot rests on the fact that will Vijay Mallya come down on April 2nd, or will the investigative agencies have to now go ahead and submit a charge sheet to actually get him back? Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining in on the show. Pleasure.